Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. That's what they tell me.
That's what they're gonna say. Yeah. I am. I just gotta make sure I don't forget things, because I forget things.
I do too.
The spirits, and the head of the mind, and then things get a little cross-eyed.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back. Did you miss us?
Didn't miss you.
We took a week off.
Yep, get over it.
And now we're back.
Because you know why? You ain't paying us.
We're back in your ear holes.
Oh.
Welcome back to a Sinner and Saint podcast.
Good to see you. We haven't seen each other either. It's been a minute.
We haven't.
We had a chance to talk in the car, but that was about it. So.
Yeah, that was okay.
You've been busy. You've been the one.
I have.
Unavailable. You've been unavailable. Emotionally unavailable.
For years. Yeah.
Physically unavailable. Spiritually unavailable.
Yes.
I mean.
I can cite my sources on.
Financially unavailable.
Yeah,
I mean.
don't give my money to people. No.
But it's good to see you. You're looking very. We referenced Lasso in the setup, and you're looking very beardish today.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks.
I don't know if that was the goal, but...
Coach Beard.
Yeah, Coach Beard.
I didn't really think about it. I woke up real early this morning and got a lot of stuff done. And then
I was up early, too. I was up at 5. I don't know what early was up for you, but last 2 mornings I've been up at 5 a.m.
Tuesday.
That's a little... I was up at Tuesday.
I got up on Tuesday. And it was one of those where I was like, I haven't looked at myself yet in the mirror. Because I brushed my teeth, but I brushed my teeth while I was walking around this morning. So, I just went back and, spit and, washed my mouth out afterwards. And then I was like, this is not compelling.
I don't care. I'm going to jump on it anyway. Because I don't typically look in the mirror.
Okay.
Ever.
Yeah.
Never. I have a mirror in my bathroom, but I don't look at it when I'm brushing my teeth. When I'm trimming my beard is really about the only time to kind of make sure. And I forgot about this. I almost messed up my beard. I almost was clean shaven, baby Patrick.
You forgot to put a guard on?
I had cleaned it, and then when I put it back on, I didn't reset it to where I typically trim, and I took a swipe on the side, and it was at the base level. You might see a little thinness over there. But as soon as I did it, I was like, stop.
That's enough to make you drink.
That'd have been really interesting. People they wouldn't know how to interact with me.
Oh, dude, I haven't seen my chin since 1999.
It's been a while, yeah.
Eddie, you like keeping a neat little mustache over there, don't you?
With the curly cues on the ends.
Yeah.
So it's a little too much.
A weirdo.
Yeah, you got a little bit of wax hanging off the end of the mustache there. You got to go light, a little lighter.
When you hear the tone, it will be exactly time to get a drink.
Oh, all right. Just change the topic. I feel like you're redirecting us, buddy.
Fine.
You're not willing to engage in conversation?
You don't want to talk about your mustache and how
it's sensitive. A little sensitive about that, huh? Yeah. All right. Well, you do what you need to do.
You have a very weak chin, Eddie.
I do like the suspenders. Those new? They look good.
Eddie. We love you, Ed. We love you.
What are you serving up today? Eddie, spirits.
Eddie shook us up a Shaken Carajillo.
I'll say that twice.
Shaken Carajillo.
Oh, okay.
This is very simple. This is liqueur 43 and espresso. You mix those two and you shake them equal parts.
Well, that's good. I can't do liquor 42.
No one can or should.
No.
Yeah. So this is kind of like more like a simple breakfast cocktail.
If you really are coming off the rails, if you're drinking liquor with coffee in the morning, that's maybe time to reach out. Time to talk to somebody.
If you're like, boy, this coffee is just not enough.
You need a little creamer in your coffee? Actually, just liquor 43. You got that back there?
Anything alcoholic, you can put it in there. Well, I got rubbing alcohol. That'll work. Half and half, please.
Is this something they serve? This is probably something they serve at Waffle House. You can probably go into Waffle House and get this pretty easily.
I don't know.
What'd you call it? Shaken Carajillo.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Pretty good.
Carajillo.
Oh, I dated her once.
Carajillo. Carajillo.
Shook her once.
Yeah, she was jiggly. She was very jiggly.
All 43 parts.
Yeah. That mechanical bull was never the same. after Carajillo got off there. So you darn near fouled up your beard, huh?
Yep, and then we moved on.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't look at the mirror much. Like, I don't get dressed and, like, look and see, because I don't, guess what? I don't look at myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I tend to have, same thing, I don't, like, get dressed and make sure I look good or anything, because I know the outfits that work for me. I know the shirts I want to wear on whatever day. And, like, so I might lay in bed in the morning before I get up and be like, yeah, I'll wear that shirt today. And, like, but that's only work stuff. Like, on the weekend, it's just, like, first one available.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
So, like, these are the jeans I wore yesterday, and this is the first shirt in line in the closet. So, and the hat was just, like, an afterthought as I was...
You're like, it's a little cold out, so I need to cover them.
Yeah.
Cover the dome.
I got other things to do today. I'm going to be out and about, so I don't know how warm it's going to get.
Got a busy day today?
Also didn't check the
Christmas
weather.
shopping?
I do a little last minute, I got just some stocking stuff I need to kind of figure out.
Nice.
How about you? Y'all ready for Christmas? Y'all shopping done?
Yeah, shopping's done. I'll probably I might spend some time tomorrow, maybe wrapping things in the old shed.
Mm-hmm.
I went through and cleaned that up. I'll show it to you later. Remind me before you leave. I have taken ownership of the stockings.
Okay.
And so I buy practical little things, sometimes little things that go in there. But one of the fun things I've added in the last few years is lottery tickets.
Oh yeah. Scratchers got to go in stocking.
So I buy about $20 for each stocking, which is and it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, you never pays off. Never pays off.
I usually go back to Walgreens 2 days after Christmas to retrieve $4 out of the whatever I spent. So it's. Yeah, but I figure one of these years, and then we'll really we'll be about as happy as Christmas as the first one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
figure that was probably a pretty good one.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of birthing with that one.
The shepherds seem pretty excited, and a bunch of wise guys seem to come and hang out.
They've never seen a woman, so.
We'd only seen this from the sheep.
That's right. I only saw sheep do this. Humans do it too.
Now, when the sheep do this, you want to roll over.
The cattle are lowing. The poor baby waits.
Christmas Stories by Center and Saint Podcast.
Yeah, there's this funny thing happening in our front room. We have 2 Christmas trees. We have one in the front room, and then we have like a thinner one just kind of in the corner of the living room where we spend most of our time.
One's yours and one's Darlene's. That's what you're saying. Thicker one and a thinner one.
No,
come on.
They're both we both like them. And so, but I think Amazon is just the new wrapping paper. And that makes me laugh because they are honest to goodness just Amazon boxes under my tree. Like we've put in no effort to try and make sure that. Or did you get lost?
I was just wanted to check some things out. I was gonna find my coasters.
Okay.
Muffled.
So that's he's quit the podcast. I thought I would quit first.
That's fun. It's fun.
He decided to quit instead.
We're gonna use the Bachelor Pad coaster.
Bachelor Pad coaster is no coaster at all.
Well, that's true. The Bachelor Pad trying to impress.
There you go.
I have these Post-it notes that hold a drink just fine. That hold the old Shaken. What is it?
Be proud, Mom.
One more time. Shaken
Carajillo.
Carajillo. Spell it. That'll help me.
I did it already.
One more time.
Carajillo.
Oh, Carajillo.
Oh, nailed it. There you go. Okay. You just had to see it. You had to see it. I could have written it on your coaster for you, but
Good job.
Here he is. Yeah, and it's
it's
shaken. Mm-hmm. The
Liquor 43. But only if it's before noon.
Not 42. Only if it's 14, right? So it's funny. I had a buddy's wife who said, like, she was looking through my bar trying to figure out, because I was like, just take a look at the bar and I'll make you whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, she wanted to see what I had so that she could kind of create a drink. And she's like, oh, you have Liquor 43? And I was like, yeah, I never use it. And she was the one who was like, oh, it's great in coffee.
Huh.
And
so what is it? What's it taste like by itself? What's it kind of similar to?
Sweet.
Okay.
To me, like, that's what I just get out of it, is just sweet.
Okay.
But in my head, I was like, she's like really fit and like she's actually like that's also her profession is in fitness and dietitians and stuff. And I was like, "What you hurting inside? Why are you drinking in the morning? Like, why are you adding liquor 43 to your coffee?" And then when I found that, I came across that recipe, so I shot it to her, and I was like, "Hey, it's a thing. Like, you're not alone. You didn't invent this."
She's like, "Everybody's got demons. Forward, don't."
And she's like, "You know who I'm married to.
Yeah.
Get off. Get off me."
You don't know. You don't know.
So yeah, Christmas time is here for sure.
It is here.
Happy holidays to everybody out there.
I am more festive this year than maybe I've ever been in my adult life. I typically am not. I enjoy Thanksgiving, and then I'm kind of like, wake me up after Christmas.
Let me know when it's my birthday.
Yeah, and so I don't know what hit different this year. I think the kids, the two older kids being off to college, maybe the excitement, anticipation of them, getting them to be home is kind of fun. I don't know.
Missing them?
Sure, yeah, miss them, but also enjoy like when they were home for Thanksgiving. You're like, oh, it's fun to have everybody back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's dynamic at play that maybe is making this year a little bit more festive for the Christmas holidays.
Sure.
So
I agree. Last year I never got into it. I just for whatever reason could not get into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
And kind of felt myself. I was trying to force it. And I was like, oh, maybe
this ain't working.
Maybe watch some of your Christmas movies you like, but yeah, I don't know. Just kind of, I was pleasantly surprised that this year it just kind of organically grew on me, and I've enjoyed it.
So here's the question I've been asking. It's kind of just a fun icebreaker, and I'll put this in a poll in the notes. But what is your go-to Christmas music genre? So like I think okay, you have like the Pentatonics group. You have give me the Mariah Carey all day. Give me Lindsey Sterling. I want the old Bing Crosby, or something else. Trans-Siberian has to be in there. I think Straight No Chaser has to be in there. Those are all different, unique Christmas styles. And someone would be like, yeah, give it all to me. But do you have a go-to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
40s Christmas.
40s Christmas. So you're old style. You're like.
It's Judy Garland, Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Tony Bennett.
Is that jazzy? Is it kind of jazz club?
Some of it is,
Christmas?
No, it's really that genre of like Frank Sinatra was called the old standards.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of old standards Christmas.
Okay.
And so some of them are a little jazzier, but like
not necessarily.
Not necessarily. So for me. I tend to put on that genre if I'm going to put on Christmas music, and that's what I listen to throughout the season in my car too. There's Channel 71 on XM is Holiday Traditions, and it's that same genre. Yeah,
that's not my go-to is. I would say it's probably a mix of all of those because I like the newer stuff, but I don't want. Here's what I realize I don't like. I don't like. I want the Christmas songs that. I don't want new Christmas. I don't want Christmas songs about presents and whatever. Like I'm like no. I want give me the Oh Holy Night, Silent Night, the
hymns.
Yeah, for the most part, but even. A couple of the more secular Christmas but older ones. Like I don't want All I Want for Christmas. Like I don't want that. Mariah Carey does not show up on my Christmas playlist.
Same. I'm glad she puts her children through college on the Christmas royalties that she receives. But it's not for me.
So yeah, it's like I put together a list of Lindsey Sterling and Pentatonics and Straight No Chaser. But then anytime it comes up with like I don't know, going to grandma's for the holidays. I'm like, okay, let's skip that. Like, I don't need that.
Like, I don't need the Two Front Teeth one.
Yeah.
I don't need I Saw Mama Kissing Santa Claus. Like, those are for me.
Yeah, correct. I do need the hippopotamus at least once during the holidays.
Is that getting that for Christmas?
No, that's I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It is old school.
Yeah, I've not heard it.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Oh, a hippopotamus. Yeah, I have heard that. I guess I hated it so much I just forgot it.
It's an annoying song, but it's like I need to hear it once.
Yeah.
Probably like I think the Chipmunks, don't they have like a Christmas album?
They do.
Like, I need to hear one of those and be like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm done, Alvin. Thanks.
I was gonna say that's annoying too.
We had a record, a Sesame Christmas record.
Okay.
And that was like classic. I'd have to pull that. I'd have to go find that. I'm sure it's out there. We watched. I'd never heard of this. We did not grow up. Cami and I did not grow up with this, but a lot of our people in our friend circle know this.
Mm-hmm.
Emmett Otter and the Christmas Jug Band. It's an old Jen Henson puppeteer movie from 1977.
Okay.
And like those who are a little older than us, like know it. In fact, I'm going to an Emmett Otter Christmas party this Saturday, and I'm like, okay, so like Cami and I are like, we have to watch this because we have friends that like it's her thing. That her family watches it. Like, oh, you have to, and I'm like,
I don't have to do anything.
I
have to stop listening to you tell me what I got
to do. So Cami and I had a down night, and I'm like, okay, this is out there, it's free. We got to watch this and see what all the hype is. Still not sure what the hype is. It was poor. Maybe it was masterful in '77, but it still doesn't fare well to Sesame Street or the Muppets from I think that time, even though it's Jim Henson. Man. It looks like nappy old forest dolls that my grandmother maybe had from.
Gross. Last night we watched. Netflix has this special on right now called "Who Killed Santa," with Will Arnett and Jason Bateman and Maya Rudolph.
Okay.
And so it's basically it's just under an hour.
Okay.
And it's improv. So Maya Rudolph and Jason Bateman don't have a script.
Will Arnett did a series. It was a cop series or whatever, where he was like the main detective, and then they'd bring in another actor who would improv.
Oh, maybe it was this.
It might be paired with it, but it's
His name was Terry Seattle.
Okay.
I paused it twice just to be like, how much longer is this? God, this is the worst thing I've ever watched.
Emmett Otter was the longest 53 minutes of my life.
Yeah, I don't like Will Arnett anyways. I don't find value in him.
Oh,
and
have we talked about this? I don't either.
I don't think so.
I can't do their podcast.
Because
I find Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes are fine, but when Will Arnett starts talking, I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And so it got over, and I was like, this is the worst thing we've ever watched, right? And she's like, I don't know, but it's top 3. Like, it's top 3 for sure. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, I'm just going to watch football now. So like, I just watched football for a little bit before I went to bed, but I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
We watched Love Actually.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of been doing it the last few years. Although we watched that with the kids
probably
4 years ago, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that whole storyline of the porn actors together, which is hilarious.
It is very funny.
Because it's so casual, and then when they decide they want to get intimate, it's very awkward. Like, I'm like, I don't know if it's that. And it's kind of, that movie's just filled with all the traditional love story holiday cliches. And it's like, they're like, we're just going to do this and make it work. And it does.
It does. There was more than one lobster at the birth of Christ. I'm the first lobster.
It's a good story, which also led me to Notting Hill.
Yeah.
I had to go back and watch that. I'm like, that's a Hugh Grant. He's kind of a dopey English guy. He pulls it off well.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
nailed it.
Yeah.
We like the Christmas classics like that, like that and Christmas Story, of course, and A Christmas Story Christmas I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
But we still like some of the darker stuff.
Like?
So, like we watched Black Christmas a couple nights ago, which is basically a fraternity and a sorority are kind of going at it, and they just start murdering each other. And it's like, oh yeah, this is for us.
Yeah.
We watched something called El Camino Christmas with Dax Shepard, and like basically this dude isn't robbing a liquor store, but all the cops think he's robbing a liquor store, so then it becomes this big bloody shootout. And they're like, yeah, these are our Christmas movies right here. Like, yeah.
That's funny.
But we still do, like, closer to Christmas, we'll do, like, Christmas Vacation. But I think we kicked it off this year with, like, Office Christmas Party, which, oh, man, I love that movie. It's so funny.
It's fun. It's fun to go back and watch those and kind of go back through it all and whatever. See what news out there. I've not watched the is it Angry Santa or whatever? The guy from I never watched this. What was the
Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton?
Oh gosh, no.
Okay.
No, I think it's Angry Santa. What was the big TV show that was based off the 80s, or the Netflix series that was based off the 80s?
Stranger Things?
Yes,
Okay.
he's in there. I didn't watch that series, but he was in it. But now he's Santa in this, and it's Santa like
Violent Night.
That's it.
David Harbour.
Yes.
Violent Night.
Yes.
Gotcha. That was great. You gave me enough clues to get me there. I liked it. I liked it.
They're like bad trivia with these two knuckleheads.
I love it. I'm going to vaguely describe something and you guess what it is. You never watched Stranger Things, huh?
The kids watched it and they loved it, and I tried sitting in on a couple of episodes, and it was like, I think I missed too much backstory that I was like, this doesn't. Now we're fighting aliens? I thought these were kids in a rural...
Yeah, Indiana town.
Yeah.
Hawkins, Indiana.
Okay.
I absolutely loved it because it hits on all the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like you and I growing up is exactly where it's at.
When I have time, one of these days I'll go back and catch it, but I'm not there yet.
Okay, well, you let me know when you get there. We'll talk about it.
Maybe when the youngest is off and doing this thing.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They're waiting for a new series. I don't know. Writers striking jerks.
I don't know. I'm
paid.
kind of over it at this point because all the kids have grown up.
Yeah, right. They're gonna come back and they'll be like, "Oh, they grown up years."
It's a fast forward.
Well, it's been Stranger Things.
We found a time bubble.
Yes, just like that. So Sinner and Saint moment. It's isn't so much a saint moment as it much was just a high. Got a chance to was taking a road trip up to see Jada a couple weeks ago, and started that trip with you on the phone call, rehashing some Survivor stuff, and that was a great conversation. It was super fun,
fantastic,
and it was funny when we got off the phone. Cammy's like, it's like sitting in on your podcast. Like she's like, I'm just along for the ride, and I'm like, you're welcome.
She could have talked.
No, she did a little. She did a little, but yeah,
I tried to engage her some.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That was.
She's like, you really like Survivor, and I'm like, yeah, and he doesn't have anybody to talk to about it. So
yeah, that's how he spent COVID.
That's how that works. That's how that works.
Yeah, he watched every single season of Survivor during COVID. Some of it even on the treadmill. I even tried to stay healthy during COVID.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, and it's funny because I'm always a day behind. I know you watch it like right after.
Yeah.
And I always watch it on Thursday, and so I got home from work this past Thursday and watched it, and then I was like, oh, I've got to talk to Pat.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
And I don't know how it's going to wrap up. I'm excited for how it's going to wrap up, but
it's been fun.
If they do another like heroes versus villains, Dee is a hands down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so she's stringing that poor puppy along.
Poor guy.
Idiot.
Poor guy. Cammy was looking up some stuff during the show, and I was like, "You need to get off of there. You're gonna mess something up. Like you're gonna learn something that you don't want to learn."
Yep.
She's like, "I was just checking something." I'm like, "That doesn't matter."
Yeah. This is not a sinner or saint moment. This is just this was a weird thing that happened to me yesterday. I met a buddy for a beer, and we're sitting at the bar talking, and this guy on the other side of him, a couple stools down, like looks over at me. He's like, "Hey, are you a chef?" And I was like, "No, I'm not a chef." And he's like, "Are you sure you're not a chef?" I was like, "I'm positive.
You got me.
I'm positive I'm not a chef." He's like, "Oh, okay." And then I start talking to my friend again. So that guy finishes his beer and leaves, and I'd only been in there probably 15 minutes. So we order another round, and half an hour later, a different guy comes and sits next to me. And like he's kind of interjecting in our conversation, like kind of eavesdropping and wanting to be part of it, which, oh boy, that annoys the crap out of me. If you're that person, jump off the building.
Yeah.
End it now. So he's chit-chatting about things, and then he's like, not joking, he's like, "Are you a chef?" And I looked at the bartender, and I was like, "Is this a setup? What is happening?" And she's like, "I don't know."
It was because you wore your chef's hat and chef's jacket out.
I wore my chef's jacket.
You brought your knives and set them out on the bar.
No, I just one pan. Just brought one pan, but I drank out of it the whole time.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that.
And
I know you think it's comfortable, but you can't go out and drink at the bar like that. Yeah, you'll get questions like that.
Well, I mean, it cleans up the messes so easy. So I was like, no. And he's like, you look just like this chef in Zionsville. And I was like, no, man, I'm not a chef. And he's like, what do you do? And I told him, and he was like, oh, yeah, not a chef. And my buddy Sean was just like, what is happening?
Murder for hire.
And yeah, and I was like, this is the weirdest thing. So I'm driving home, and it dawns on me. I can't tell you the chef at any restaurant where I ever eat.
One, only because they're friends, but yes.
It's like, I mean, there's a couple restaurants that, like, when we go out to a nice dinner, we tend to go to one of those couple restaurants. I can't tell you what the chefs look like.
Yeah, but like at really, really nice restaurants, doesn't the chef come out and say hello, and you're like, great job.
Yes.
Dinner was wonderful. Thank you. You're not eating at those places, so I'm not eating at those places.
I guess. Well,
I eat at one of those places, and it's in our neighborhood. So
here's the thing. There's a guy.
And I do it twice a year because that's what I can budget.
Right. Right. There's a place right by my house where I think I've talked about this before. The guy's name's Steve Oakley, and it's Oakley's Bistro. And his claim to fame is he went head to head with Bobby Flay in the Beat Bobby Flay thing and beat him.
Take that, Bobby
And
Flay.
so and so
who's you proud?
But it's funny because like even if I go in there, I don't know which one's Steve.
Yeah, right.
Like there's 9 of them back there in white coats. Like I don't know.
Just ask. Be like, hey, can you have Steve come out to the table when he has a minute?
But that's the thing. I've probably eaten there half a dozen times. He's never come out to the table.
Steve.
And like he even knows
you gotta work on those skills,
a good friend of mine. Like we went out for my birthday 5-6 years ago there. He's personal friends with a good friend of mine and like still never came to the table because he's cooking.
Yeah, right.
Like if you're out schmoozing people.
You want food or you want me to come hang out?
I want my food.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't need you at my table. You are not part of the ambiance. But it's what it dawned on me. I was like, how do both of these people know what chefs look like?
Yeah.
Like maybe they're... Now my brother is really into that scene in New York City.
Yeah.
And like they'll have chefs they follow. And they'll be like, oh, so-and-so opened a new restaurant. Let's go check it out.
That's creepy.
And I'll just be like, who cares? Like, it's the same chef.
I had waitresses I followed in college. It got me in trouble.
Yeah. Campus security! Security!
So I can follow the chef, but I can't follow the waitresses? Sexist.
Is that frowned upon? No, I'm not supposed to be? Okay. It wasn't a big deal.
It's not true. I didn't follow the waitresses.
Follow the waiters.
That's right. Oh, hell. Hello.
Oops, the daisies. Yeah, not a Sinner or Saint moment, but I was just, that's when it dawned on me, like, how do people know what chefs look like? I couldn't care less.
So here, a story of recognition. I had a networking, it was a chamber lunch recently that I went to, and this guy came up to me, and I recognized him, but he, with authority, put his hand out and shook me and said, hey, good to see you again. And I recognized him. I knew I'd seen him, and I knew I'd met him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, good to see you. How's things going? You know, just enough. And then was like, I can't place this guy. I couldn't find a way to subtly look at his name tag without being obvious.
My eyes are up here.
I'm like, name tags are the worst. Can we stop doing name tags? Like, I need somebody else to be in the conversation so that he looks away so I can be like, okay.
Yeah.
So then we get into the lunch part of the thing, and he's sitting right at the table next to me, between my view of sight of the speaker. And so like I'm staring at him the whole time, and I'm just like noodling. I'm like, how do I know this guy? And I could not come up with it. And so at the end, I'm just like, I went back up to him. I said, I know we've met. I know I probably should know your name. I cannot place you for the life of me. Help me out. Like, I'm just like...
And was he okay with it?
He was. He introduced himself and reminded me where we had met. And he's like, it only been once, and it was brief, and it was a quick encounter. And he was incredibly gracious, but I was just like, geez Louise.
Do you want to know my trick to that?
Yeah, please.
You were in a room of other people you knew, right?
Yes.
Okay. My trick to that is grab someone else I know and be like, to the stranger that I can't remember, be like, hey.
That's usually what I do.
Hey, this is Todd. Todd works at blah, blah, blah. And then Todd's going to go, hi, and the guy's going to naturally say, hi, I'm Terry.
I kept looking for someone, and there was no one. And I was like I'm paying attention to him. I'm like scanning. I'm like,
who can I reel into this?
Like, everybody's around, but they're like far enough out that I just can't grab them. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it was.
That's funny.
And then I was just like, I got to get away from this conversation because I'm going to embarrass myself.
You're so good because there's like that sycophant in me that will just like ride that as long as I can and see if I can make it all the way through without it being awkward. So just be like, oh man, you're looking great. You're looking great.
I could have pretended that I was like, I knew I couldn't. Just because I was like, he was very familiar with me, and I was like, I got to figure this out, like, because otherwise it's going to bite me in the butt. And I even asked a couple people once the conversation had ended. I was like, hey, you see him? And they're like, yeah. I was like, who is that? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I've seen him around. And I'm like,
yeah,
you stink.
I had that happen probably 6 months ago, and it was really kind of uncomfortable. Where I was at my office. And I was in my office building, and this young woman walked up to me, and she's like, hey, I think I know you. And I was like, you don't look familiar to me at all. And it turns out she was a waitress at a restaurant that I used to frequent before it closed during COVID. But I would always go in and sit at the bar, and she was always working in the restaurant, but she recognized me from like the server station that she would see people sitting at the bar. And so she was just like, did you used to go to North End? And I was like, yeah, that was definitely a frequent spot for me. She's like, I used to work there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, who cares? Like, well, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, why bother to remind me that I don't know you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was weird. But it was one of those shocking moments where, like, just the, hey, I think I know you. And I'm just like, oh, no. But I get that a lot. I think we're probably very opposite that way. Because I get that a lot where it's like, hey, you look really familiar. And I've realized now, like I played that game some in my 20s. And I'm like, I've just got that face.
Yeah.
Like you just think you've probably seen me somewhere, but I've just got that face where everybody thinks I'm somebody else. Right. But you're probably the opposite where like you have such a specific look and niche that I think people would probably just be like, oh, that's Patrick.
I had somebody, this was a month or two ago, somebody was like, there was a conversation happening in the community, and there was a developer trying to move into an area that the community did not want or whatever, and so there was a hearing of some sort, and someone's like, hey, tell me about the hearing. And I was like, oh, I said, yeah, I heard about it. I don't know much about it. And they're like, well, so and so said that you were there, and I was like, no, I wasn't. And they're like, no, they said you were there, and I was like, oh, okay,
hearsay trumps your memory, sir. No, someone said you were there.
And I'm like,
stop trying to wiggle out of it.
I'm like, no, I wasn't. In fact, I didn't even learn about the meeting until after the fact. And then I had to kind of dig up and get myself caught up on the conversation and what was going on. But I said I wasn't there. And they're like, well, they were sure. I mean, they talked to you and everything. And I was like, yeah,
cool story.
Somebody else out there looking like me. It's like, poor bastard. Like,
could you please stop wasting my time with this conversation?
I like people that try.
It's funny.
People try to convince me of things when you're like, yeah, it wasn't me. No, it was you. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh. Sorry. Yes, you would know. You would know.
No, I must be sleepwalking at 1 p.m. again. Thanks, idiot.
Thanks for that.
Are you a chef? No, man. And that's the weird thing is, like, that's our neighborhood bar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a once a week stop, probably. Mostly because they do $8 sliders on Saturdays and Sundays. But yeah, it's 3 sliders for $8, not $8 a piece. That's not fiscally responsible. $24 on sliders.
Beef? What are you chowing on down there in the neighborhood?
3 sliders for $8.
This, in the Hamptons?
Like to clarify.
Yeah. Take that conversation. I hope it happens again, and if it does, take it further. Be like, yeah, which restaurant?
My best dish?
Which restaurant do you think I'm at?
What do you like I make the most?
Yeah, just go lean into that. Be like, yeah, please.
Speaking of, a lot of times at home we'll just do our own dinner, and so there was this new recipe that I wanted to try, and this all. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent.
Go for it. You got 11 minutes.
Okay, it's not going to be that long.
Well, about 10.
Okay.
8. We got to do our fences and what we learned, and we actually
this might be 13 minutes. This might be 13 minutes of material.
Hey, let me draw it up on some production notes real quick.
Please do. Pause the podcast.
Flow chart here. Okay. Insert joke.
Insert joke. 44-minute mark.
Cultural reference. Say something holy. Say something sinful. And close.
Over the Thanksgiving holiday, we watched Julie and Julia.
Oh yeah.
And so.
And with the cultural reference.
So
he's growing. There's really growth, folks.
But we couldn't remember.
Look what we've done together.
I know. Oh my God. I co-host a podcast. Yeah. We couldn't remember Chris Messina's real name, and so I was looking up the cast and all that. But then my Google feed got a hold of it and started just throwing Julia Child recipes into my Google feed. So I found this one. Not the videos, just the written. And so there was this woman who was like, "This dish has become like just a quick, easy go-to. Like I've made variations of it," and I was like, "I might try that one night." So we get to this particular night. My wife's like, "Hey, I'm not feeling great. I'm just gonna do my own dinner." I was like, "Okay," and I was just kind of in a real fussy mood that day, and so I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna make this dish because I don't care. Like, and if it sucks, I'm not gonna care. It sucks. That's okay." So I make this dish, and it's nothing super fancy. It's just I never would have. Like, my brain wouldn't have put all this together. Uh-huh. And so I get done, and I go sit in the dining room, and I'm eating, and my wife's like, "How is it?" I was like, "I'll give you my official review when I'm done."
Just so you all know, so you're sitting at the dining room. Your wife says this from the other room. She's not eating dinner with you.
Correct.
And she's not in the same room with you.
Correct.
Just so everyone else is visualizing this, yes.
I'm eating alone.
Yes.
And she's hollering for me.
Despite the fact they're married and just everyone's
do your own dinner is literally you do your own dinner. Like, you want to go eat on the porch? You can go eat on the porch.
Savage over there. It's savage.
So I got to tell you, though, I cannot remember intentionally slowing down eating to savor a meal.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what was this meal?
Wow,
what was in it?
I can't pronounce the name. It's a French name.
Yeah.
But it's essentially like chicken in like a mushroom wine cream sauce.
Okay.
And so with like other things on it too. There's a lot of other things.
So not coq au vin,
but I don't know what that is. But yeah,
it's a French chicken wine dish with mushrooms.
And I was just like,
it looks like coq au vin.
Oh, like it when it's spelled out?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's
yes, please.
It's good. I will take a baguette.
It's a saucy.
Would you like to come and eat my ratatouille? But no, it was funny, man, because it was one of those where I was like, wow, this was so good. I've not made it since. I was like, that was enough. Once was enough. But it sincerely turned my bad day around, man.
So that's what your response is. Are you a chef, personal chef?
I thought about saying that.
Personal chef.
Are you a chef? Oh, I dominate my kitchen.
Personally, yeah.
Bro, you should see what I'm doing with those knives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lost 4 fingers.
That's fun. I
don't know how we got on that tangent, but
I don't know. I don't care.
Okay.
It's fun.
Okay.
Expensive sliders.
Oh yeah.
And you being a chef.
Yeah. Expensive. $8 a piece.
I'm okay. I'm good.
Get your pork tenderloin sliders.
Center moment. As I'm loosely tying to the theme of this podcast here, but I don't care. I'm making the podcast, so nobody's listening. So
I don't know. I don't know what the theme of it was.
We call it a Center and Saint podcast.
Oh, the format.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
the format.
I thought we had a theme today, and I was like, well, I lost that.
Shove it down your chimney is the theme. What was it? Oh, a center moment. I was talking with somebody the other day who I didn't know really well. I kind of know them, but not at a personal level. And they were divulging very personal stuff, and I was like, oh, you're just sharing. And in my line of work, it's not uncommon, but usually when people do it that I don't know, and then even afterwards, they were like, oh, this is not why I set up this meeting, but you got a lot more than you bargained for. And I'm like, well, you're good. Like, you and me and the salt and pepper shaker is all that's going to hear these stories, so you're good to go. But in that, she asked, she's like, point of reference or connection, like, people do this, right? They offer they share their, I'll say, confessions, their stories of some, personal, deeper stuff that they're kind of processing, and then they get a little bit of shame, and they're like, "Do you have anything like that?" And they're like, and it's kind of this tangential of like,
you want to jump in
grasping for like, please tell me I'm just not the worst horrible person or whatever. I'm like, you're good, like, you're not the worst horrible person, like.
But no, I don't have that. No, I'm blameless.
I said, what I offered her was, I was like, I'm just angry all the time. And she's like, no. I'm like, oh, yeah. No, yeah, it's angry all the time. She's like, you don't. I'm like, no, yeah, I bury that stuff. You repress that. Yeah, I've not worked through that. I've not processed that.
Conceal, don't feel.
I've not figured out the Buddhist methods of seeking that inner peace and nirvana. I'm working on it, but I just walk around angry most of the time, and particularly when I get behind the wheel behind other Indiana drivers. They're fantastic, so that does not help.
Getting to your house is a nightmare.
We went to Wisconsin, and I was like, at least these people know how to drive. Yeah. Like, it was unbelievable. I'm like, it's a whole different thing up here.
I got honked at today. The roundabout down here by Pizza King, right?
Yeah.
There was like a delivery truck, like a flatbed, like Menards type delivery truck, entering the roundabout as I'm entering the roundabout, and I'm like, okay, cool. We're equal.
We've got time, right? You're entering. I'm entering.
So I just went, and this guy just lays on the horn. And I just giggled, and I was like, idiot.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I know how to use a roundabout.
It's fun. Yeah, I had that a couple weeks ago too, and you're just like, there's plenty of room. Or when people are on the inside, and there's two lanes around it, and they're on the inside, and you're coming in from the outside, and they're like, nah. I'm like, I'm in my lane. Yeah, I'm good. It's okay. Like, unless you're wanting to change lanes, that's a you problem, not a me problem.
I'm afraid of the roundabouts.
People.
My brother lives out of state, and he had driven to Carmel, and was just like, that's a nightmare. He's like, how do you do that? And I was like, how do you not know how to do that? Like, that's not a difficult.
Asher had one of his roommates who's from Michigan. His family stayed in Carmel while they were dropping him off, I think, during drop-off weekend at the beginning of the semester. And he's like, so I did 5 laps in a roundabout because I wasn't sure where to go, and Google kept rerouting, but every time I circled it, it was like... So like, I finally realized I probably just need to get off here and let it figure out where I'm in, because it was getting lost.
Gosh, that's funny. Well, I guess, and I don't know. I mean,
and there's a law. Do you know you can only go on a roundabout? I forget what it is. I want to say 7 times, and then it's illegal.
Just to keep going in the circle?
Yeah. After 7 times, you got to get off the ride.
Oh my gosh.
I pulled it up. I looked at it, and they're like, because I was like, I reached out to an officer a couple years ago when they started putting them in Noblesville, and I said, hey, any laws against me just having like a tailgate in the middle of a roundabout over at Meyer? And he's like, why would you want to? And I'm like, why would you not want to? I mean, haul a grill out there, set up some lawn chairs and a tent, and just be grilling for the sake of like, this dead space. Ain't nobody coming through here. Waving people, offer them a hot dog. Like, he's like, I don't think there's any laws, but it could be a distraction. I would not recommend this. Do not have a cookout in the middle of a roundabout. I was like, I'm not inviting you when I do have the cookout.
Well, you can't get a hot dog then.
So I thought it'd be a fan. Like, I'm like, I would love to do like a pop-up event where like, okay, guys, we're mob blitzing cookouts in the roundabouts. Get your grills. Like, sign up if you're in for it. Name your roundabout and go to town.
Oh my god, dude!
How cool would that be?
Watching Rex is very fun.
Mayhem.
Yeah, I like watching Rex. Yeah. Here's the thing I don't get about, and I understand everybody's a little bit different, like mentally, but like roundabouts aren't an intimidating thing. No. It's a circle with four.
And you got to yield going into it. It is not a stop sign.
No, and it's like, it's not a real problematic thing. Like, if you want to continue on the road, take the second one.
Driving is hard for some people, I've realized. Like, it really stresses some people out, I've learned. And I'm like...
She's trying.
I was not referencing Skinny Tree, but that's okay.
Jeez,
that's my new nickname for your wife, Skinny Tree.
That's fine. Let me be there when you say it to her face. I'd like to be there for, and then I'll prepare for the deposition.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I offended.
Yeah.
Anybody.
I think we
can't drive.
I think we offended Mary, Mother of Jesus, and maybe Jesus probably isn't happy with us.
I think that cattle that's lowing isn't real happy with us. So
they wanted to do more than lowing, but
I know
it was a sight to be seen.
They wanted to do loining, but they couldn't.
For $8 a sandwich, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they got massage.
You offended those guys who really wanted you to be their chef. Those guys really wanted that.
Oh, dude, I offend anybody who wants to talk to me at a bar. Like, I'm not. Does not play well with others. Yeah.
What was the North End? Was that the Hippo bar? Hippo waitress?
No,
bar?
No. No, that's Rusty Bucket. And she's still there.
Is she?
Yeah.
Tell her I said hi.
I only see her every once in a while.
Offended people who don't know how to drive in Indiana, which is the state.
I offended half the people that I was on the road with this morning.
How can you own Speedway and still be such pissant drivers? It makes no sense. There's a lot of it doesn't make sense. I still, after 20 plus years living in the state, it doesn't make sense. Like, how can you be such a red state? Oh, I'm getting on a rant. How can you be such a red state and
offended Republicans
and want so much government? Like,
yeah,
they want a lot of red tape for being the party that doesn't want big government. It makes no sense. There's much. There's
it's almost like they're not just being transparent with us.
It's like they don't really know what they want except power and control.
I learned today that you have opinions at the end when it can escalate. I'm excited we have more episodes to record today.
I learned how to spell Carajillo.
Carajillo. I also learned what Bachelor coasters are.
Yeah, well, you do what you do. I don't know where mine went. I don't know. Somebody probably stole from.
There were some things were rearranged in here.
Well, that's because we had to. We'll talk about that in another episode. So.
Okay.
Here's how I'm going to send you out. The holiday season is upon us, and so yeah. Here's where I'm going. As the holiday season is upon us.
Yeah. Check this out.
Watch that. I'm going to lay it down so hard. Merry Christmas! Joy to the world!
I wanted that, and then you just drop it, and that's your sign off. You're like, that's
it.
That's your sign off.
May you embrace the Christmas ghost of past, present, and future, and do some good reflective stuff to deal with your anger and move into the new year as a new you.
Get your shopping bag too.
Get this stuff those stockings. Get that out of the stocking. That does not go in there.
What sock for the sand? Didn't know what was happening.
Why is this stocking so stiff?
Merry Christmas! Thank you guys for joining Sinner and Saint Podcast episode 61. Don't tell a friend.
Don't say anything.
Don't just keep this to yourself.
This is like the speakeasy of podcasts.
This is the most important thing that you can keep just to yourself.
Be selfish. Be selfish this year. Don't tell a single soul, you jerk.